The thing that is great about the Central West is everyone is really keen to work together. You know, the drought, and before the drought there was floods and then there was fires. Service providers want to provide a service, they want to help people, but not just service providers, people in the community care about their community and their people and their neighbour and their businesses, and they want to help people as well. It's important because I think without it, your social fabric of what makes the bush would be gone. I think it also, you know, builds resilience in communities. There's also challenges, there's real challenges, and this has come from a number of levels, and it's something that keeps me awake at night time. How do you get the really serious bush blokes to engage? You know, their loss of self-worth, their feeling of letting their family down, their feeling sometimes of embarrassment and shame of, you know, they should have done a better job. All of those things, we find that a really big challenge as service providers. The challenge is to get them to come to us, but then in saying that, I'm looking at it from so many different hats that I wear. I look at it from a strategic level, I look at it from the practice nurse level. You know, do we need to look how we change doing business? You know, and I look at effective programs that used to work, like the HERB program, where we used to have a health nurse in a car that used to drive to people's properties and do a health assessment on them. But these programs historically have been funded for relatively short times. There isn't a continuity. They are funded to agencies that have not long-term been committed in the West. Like, and I'll give you an example. And it's, please, no knocking or, you know, trying to be negative towards those, but, you know, Suncare, Centacare, they're not big agencies in the West, and the funding capacity comes, you know, look at what's going on now. The ones that are at our mental health and wellbeing drought table, they're funded till June this year. Like, it's going to take people at least 5 years to recover from this drought, even if it rained, you know, broadly across the Central West tomorrow, and for the rest of the week, and the drought broke. I can tell you, business-wise and small business-wise, and from a rural perspective, that will not change. It is going to take people a long time to recover from this. So you look at social. To be social, you need to have some finance. When you're in the middle of a drought, you don't have any money. But there's not only that, there's the extra workload. You've got stock, you've got feed, you've got waters, you've got moving cattle, you've got reduced property values. And I was talking to a woman the other night, and she said this to me. She said, you know, Jane, initially they used to do someone had funded a rodeo and people had come in, but she said it's still the petrol, and, you know, to get to town and to get back. And she said, you know, at the bar there isn't any money, you know, like for the boys to have, you know, a good night out, and then it goes on to the continued social issues, which not only publicly but also mask at home. So you go to the bar because the men can't express themselves very well at home, so they get on the piss at the bar, and, you know, then that turns into a bit of a misery session or a debriefing session. So, and then some of them find, you know, if one of them's not coping well, and, you know, they sort of break down a bit. Generally, bush blokes are like, holy shit, oh, mate's not doing so well, you know, did you see him at the bar? So then that compounds another lot of, and he gets home in the morning and goes, oh shit, you know, what have I done? His mates that were at the bar with him go, oh, Ross isn't so good, is he? Thought he lost the plot, you know, and then it compounds on. So then if he thinks, oh shit, I'm not coming to town again, I won't do that again, just thinking he's having a blowout, then they start drinking at home. Then the issue of, it comes into domestic violence, the inability to spend money, the cost if you've got children at school. It goes not into social, it goes into finance. They just want someone to talk to. They don't necessarily think, I need to see a counsellor. You know, it would be, I think you need to probably have someone with some counselling skills, but that is what they say. I just want to have someone that I can confidentially talk to to say, holy shit, I'm having a really bad day. But where the sustainability of that is falling down is the funding process, the knee-jerk reaction from federal and state departments, and this no fixed, and fixed is the key word, continued long-term planning with a broad outlook. I'll give you an example. When I was the Rural Family Support job, initially it started 20 years ago as the drought support officer. But guess what? Then we had some good seasons. So they thought, oh, we don't need a drought support officer anymore. Let's change that to looking after children that could be at risk. So they change it to looking after children, but they're not just, they just narrow it down to looking after children. So you're looking after children from birth to 18. What about the children's parents? So you've got all these little buckets of money that are short-term, quick fixes of bullshit that are underpaid, that encourage your first and second year social workers to come to, because anyone with some professional capacity would not, for the responsibility, receive the amount of money that they receive and the workload that you, as a result, will end up with if you're worth your weight.